Hello, my name is Eric Hawkins and I'm the horn instructor here at Georgia State University, and this is the 2024-2025 Symphonic Band Lyrical Etude for the first and second round of the All-State audition. This is coincidentally one of my favorite etudes out of the Koprush book, mostly because you have so many opportunities to be expressive in your playing. It even says Adagio espressivo at the beginning of this etude, so you know that you can really milk a lot of these phrases. Right away, we got to talk about the sharps in this etude. We know that there's F sharp in the key signature, which means we're in the key of G major. However, you see a lot of C sharps from measure 7 to the end of this. And this is not by accident. It's not meant to torture you. It's not meant to make you write down all your accidentals, even though you definitely should. There's a reason why there's so many sharps in this. This etude is the first section of a binary form. Typically, in the first major section of a binary form, the key center will modulate or change from the tonic key to the dominant key. In this case, we're changing from a key center of G major to a key center of D major. Now, what do tonic and dominant mean exactly? The tonic key center is basically the chord structure that's based around the first scale degree of this major scale. In this case, it's G major. The dominant key center is a chord structure that's based around the fifth scale degree of the major key. So that's where we get our key center of G major modulating to the key center of D major in this first section of this binary form. Let's talk about this funny looking symbol in the first measure. So this is called a turn. By its definition, a turn is meant to be an ornament in music. It's not meant to be the sole focus of the music, but rather to decorate what's already printed. And if you own the Koprush book, which is where this etude is from, this is number 22 in the Koprush book. And if you look at the bottom of this etude, there's a German word. It's pronounced Ausführung. 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 I think that's how you pronounce it. Ausführung. And essentially what this word means is it's the execution of the symbol that is printed. Or otherwise, how something is meant to be played. The way a turn essentially is to be executed by its definition is to start with the note printed. In this case, in measure 1, it's G. And then you'll go up to the A, and then back to the G, and down to the F sharp, and then back to the G again before continuing to the next printed note, which is A. And then you can figure that out the same way in measure 9 with both of those. Now in measure 9, you do have the sharp above the turn, which means you're going to put an accidental sharp on the G below this A within the turn. And you can hear that when I played it earlier in the video as well. Now, there are other decorations in this etude. You have grace notes and you have trills, and you have grace notes that come after trills that resolve into the notes right after that are called Nachschlags. These are also not meant to be the sole focus of the music. If you need to take some of these out to practice the etude how it's printed, go ahead and do that. And then once you get further in the process, you can put these back in. Now, when you do put them back in, I would highly recommend that you play them, you execute them in such a way that sounds like you're singing them. It's very easy to say, oh, okay, here are some grace notes that come very quickly before a note, so I'm going to try to move my fingers very fast to make them happen. You're going to find more mistakes in that thought process. And so I'd highly recommend that you sing through this etude with the grace notes when you're comfortable. Take the second measure, for example. Da, da, da. I'm not making those very quick when I sing. I'm not going da, 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 because it doesn't sound song-like. It doesn't sound like a human voice when I do that. It just sounds like a couple of quick notes. So again, I would highly recommend that you sing through this so you get a feel for the type of pacing that's going to be acceptable. And same thing goes for the trills. You want to be able to distinctly hear both notes of those trills. Now let's talk about this big leap in measure 6. Look at beat 3. You have an E at the bottom of the staff, and then you have the G just on top of the staff. That interval, if you don't know, it's called a minor 10th interval. Between that E and that G on a standard double horn, you have 6 other open harmonics between those two notes. The way that I teach large slurs is to really embrace those small notes between two notes of a large interval. So take those two notes out of context for now and see if you can slur through every single tiny harmonic between the two. Start by doing this very slowly and then speed it up gradually. And if you do that process carefully and gradually enough, it will sound like a very authentic slur. The danger here is trying to place the high note after playing the E, like this. It's not an authentic slur because you're not really truly connecting those two notes with the vibration of the lips. You're actually stopping the vibration before you try to attempt playing the high note. And I know what you're thinking. Well, if I don't tongue it, then it's still technically a slur, right? Well, you can think that way, but it doesn't have the same kind of connection as if you go through each of those tiny little harmonics in between those two notes. Doing it this way is a much more efficient method of going about playing large slurs. I like to use the analogy of climbing up a tall ladder. So if you're climbing a ladder and the steps on the ladder are really far apart, you're gonna have a much harder time trying to step onto each rung of that ladder. However, if the steps on the ladder are much closer, like in the case of these harmonics, you can very easily, much more easily step up on each step to be able to get to the top. So which ladder would you rather climb? The one with giant steps? So which ladder would you rather climb? The ones with giant steps or the ones with smaller steps? I hope you found this video helpful, and if you'd like additional guidance with any of the audition material, either the etudes or any scale preparation or sight reading help, feel free to reach out to me. We can schedule a one-on-one session. My inbox is always open and welcoming, so I'll leave my email right here. This video was brought to you by the Georgia State University School of Music and coffee. Thanks, everybody. Something that you may want to consider to help your high register is just to buy one of these. The little baby horn. It makes high register playing easier.